All right. Hello, everyone. It's Nancy Rebecca again from the Pacific Northwest. If you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're just hopping in on the day 3 of my free workshop, just let you know that the replay is available for you for anchoring into calmness, which was day 1. Day 2 was higher self hotline, where you all got to communicate with your higher self. And today, is guided by spirit. So I'm going to give you all a few minutes to hop on. But today you're going to reconnect. You're going to connect with a spirit guide who's been with you since birth, has learned, and you're going to learn practical methods to bypass those mental limitations so that you can receive support every day in your life so that you can know that they're there. And your spirit guide, I can just tell you, your spirit guides are very excited that you get to become aware of them and that they're going to get to talk to you now. So I know they're very excited. And so on this day 3 of our Calm, Clear, and Spirit-led free workshop event, this is the session, this is the lesson that can change everything for you. You're going to discover this life-changing way to communicate directly with a spirit guide. Like, this is a big deal. When we sent out that survey, it was like, yeah, people want to know how to connect with guides. Like, how do you do it? What's the secret? Spill the tea. So it's exactly what I'm going to be doing today. So guides you can receive real life guidance in real time, current reassurance and insight in any moment that you need it. No more guessing, no more wondering. Today, you're going to learn how to cut through the mental noise and open a two-way conversation with the divine, your personal, your private guide that is going to provide clarity, confidence, and unwavering connections. So you're never going to know what it feels like to feel unsupported again when you have this guide with you. So as a few of you are coming on, I am going to check in. Hello from Houston and Quebec. Let me just check in with on my Facebook page, because it doesn't show up here for me, but it does show up on my phone. And I will ask somebody to make sure and pin it to the top, because on the Facebook page, it'll start to drift as you all are making comments. It kind of drifts down to the bottom. So I'll just ask that it be pinned at the top. And there you are. I see you live, and I already see that we have 17 comments there. Yes. Hello from Puerto Rico and Denmark and North Carolina. So wonderful to see you all. We're going to be covering a lot of material today. So let me read a few comments from day 2's homework assignment. After that, I will be announcing the winners of the doing the homework assignment, and we're going to announce the scholarship winners. So, all right, let me navigate my phone system here. All right, I first wanted to share, because yesterday I had one of my students who's in the Psychic Mastery 1 program she got up early, she got ready, she's in New Zealand, she had her story prepared, she was preparing her story the day before. She was never able to get on this streaming system. So she did write me, and I'm going to share her note with you. Hi, everyone. I'm a Psychic Mastery 1 student, and I was supposed to be a guest today, but I had a glitch. But I just want you to know that everything Nancy is saying is totally true. I love that. Listen to Nancy. She knows what she's saying. Your higher self is trying to communicate with you. And when you try to communicate back, you start to open up your connections with it. My higher self is very funny and teaches me about myself every day, even today when she couldn't get on the call. Your connection to your higher self is the most important connection that you will ever have. And now more than ever, it's crucial to build that connection to get through these very confronting times. Your higher self will never lie to you. And mine is very direct in how it answers me most of the time, and it's never negative in how it speaks to me. My higher self has unconditional love, encourages me to invest in myself. You will not regret doing so. Nancy's an amazing teacher. all all of her techniques work. They do. They do. I'm glad she's saying that. These things we should have been taught when we were kids, but it's never too late. So practice, practice, practice. You will love it as much as it loves you. Awesome. All right, let me just give another. Here's another one. My higher self was nurturing and loving. This is a homework assignment from someone where you're supposed to write your experience with your higher self. My higher self is nurturing and loving, and I was in a glass dome high above mountains with snow in the most beautiful room with a gorgeous copper fireplace. My higher self said they would help me gain confidence and help me trust in my abilities. Thank you so much. This is the best connection I have ever felt. Much love. Here's another one from someone who did the homework. My higher self was very comforting and very motherly towards me. We were in a cottage that led into a forest. We sat on a swing and felt the breeze while enjoying nature. My higher self, she encouraged me to rest more and to keep choosing joy, even in small ways, and to try to be easy on myself. She assured me that all that I have traversed in this lifetime was exactly as it should be, even if I can't see what it is right now. Homework. I found myself in a bubble-like circular room with a strong shield of protection around. There were large holographic screens in my room. My higher self entered as an angelic being of pastel rainbow colors of light. I had so many questions about all the pain that I have endured and not fitting in life, and my higher self just held me in the most loving hug embrace while I had tears. I felt so loved and so supported. It was a beautiful, heartfelt experience. Um, I don't know. I took a lot of screen. Oh, here. Okay. And so those are beautiful. And then, but this is what I want to tell you about with your guide, because your higher self, excuse me, you can ask them anything. So I really got a kick out of this one. I did not listen to my higher self when I walked into a fast food place and I ordered a very spicy chicken sandwich. So her higher self told her, you shouldn't do that. You better not do that. I fought the urge to try this new establishment, but I went in anyway. And boy, did I regret not listening to my higher self, because I suffered from a stomach ache for the rest of the day. And then I heard my higher self said, see, I told you so. And then here's another one that has to do with food that I really enjoyed, because I asked my higher self to help me with this all the time, and that's sugar cravings. So I asked my higher self how to help me stop sugar cravings, and she showed me how to drain them out of me and send them to the earth through that anchored grounding. What a brilliant idea. Looking forward to trying it next time I have a craving come. And then she came back and said, update. I tried it. It worked. It was amazing. It worked. And so the reason why I wanted to share that is because your higher self can help you with so many things. Like it's like mine. I ask, can you help me make sure that I get up on time in the morning before my alarm goes off? But you can ask your higher self to help. Mine really helped me with sugar and to help me stop eating sugar. And my higher self can help me when I'm having hard conversations. But my higher self, and as others mentioned, just to have a good cry and to feel held and comforted by your higher self. So thank you for letting me share those. So let me talk about the two winners that had your name drawn for a gift today. And so on Facebook, the winner on Facebook for the gift is Teresa Wright. Teresa Wright. So I'm very excited for you, Teresa. And then on YouTube, Rebecca Funny 2151. Rebecca Funny 2151. And so please write info@intuitivemind.org and write to Kathy, send her your address so we can send you that gift. So I'm really excited. Now, here's the big one. This is the scholarship that we are put your names in for a drawing. So if you participated in the homework assignment for day 1, the homework assignment for day 2, all your names were put in the pot to have your name drawn for the scholarship. Now, this value is $1,477 value. If for any reason you were like, oh, wait a minute, I don't know that I thought about this program, you just let us know and we will draw another name. But for Facebook, you will be participating in the Psychic Mastery 1 foundational program with me and with fellow students for the next year. And on Facebook is Kim Carragher, Carragher. Congratulations, Kim. But we decided last night as a team to give 2 scholarships, and we're going to give a scholarship to our YouTube community. So on YouTube, another person who's going to be spending a full year, 12 modules with me in the Psychic Mastery Foundational Program, which you're going to love, is Cinco Family 9836. Cinco is spelled Cinco Family 9836. So congratulations, Kim. And I'm not sure, Cinco Family, what your name is, but please write to info@intuitivemind.org so that you can get, Kathy can get you signed up. You can get your username and password and get signed up today. So after today's teaching about communicating with a spirit guide, I just would like to know if it's going to be okay with you all at the end of the teaching today. I would really love to spend some time sharing with you a lot more than I have been about the Psychic Mastery 1 foundational program that is currently open for registration. So I would love it if you would join me, and yeah, we'll talk about it more at the end. The other thing that I just want to mention, I did put the link for Psychic Mastery 1. You can go there, look at the page. It's under, I have it here on YouTube and also on Facebook. And if you sign up by tonight, it's considered early registration, then you're going to get a bonus of a mini reading with me too. And you're going to love that as well. All right. So let me kind of hop into the teaching. I'm very, very, very excited to share this with you. All right. When you were born, in fact, before you were born, you had with you several spiritual guides who are committed to spend time in this lifetime with you to support, comfort, and guide you. They were there in the delivery room when you took your very first breath, celebrating your new small physical form and all the ways that they would be traveling with you as you journeyed along the way. However, we weren't taught that we have guides that only have eyes for us, that are devoted to always being by your side. But also you have free will to select each part of your journey and the way that that path will unfold for you. And no matter what, they are there every step of the way. You do have several guides, and each guide has a different role to play in your life. So I will kind of talk about the different guides that are with you, and I will describe to you a way that you're going to be able to learn about them and to sense them and see them and communicate with them. But this guide is what I call your spill the tea guide, meaning you can talk to them about anything and everything about your life because they already know anything and everything about you. And this guide is your ride, or I call them your ride or die guide, meaning, they're going to be there no matter what. And here's the thing, they know everything about you, but what they don't know is what you physically were experiencing when you were having an experience. So they know spiritually how things are unfolding for you, but they love to hear from your physical perspective about how whatever event is happening is touching your life. This one guide, no matter what, has your back. You can share with this guide, similar to your higher self, anything and everything. You don't need to hold back any secrets because they know all of who you are. And they also, many of them have been with you through many, many, many of your past lives. So they know all of your patterns and your personalities and your strengths and all the things that you are working on. And this is why they're so great at offering that guidance. So you can have a main. So how do I know that you have between 3 and 5 guides? Okay. I forgot to put maybe you can hear me better now. Okay. So about 30 years ago, when I began doing psychic readings, I had my out-of-body experience. And then later on that year, I started doing intuitive psychic readings. When you came into my office and I would go to do a reading for you, I would often see about 2 or 3 guides standing behind you. And so they're always standing behind you. They're always close by. And then it was about 15 years ago, I started noticing that when someone came in for a reading, they had more than 2 or 3 guides. They had 5 guides. And so my sense is, as the frequency and the vibration is going up on the earth, and as things are rapidly changing, your support system grew. And what I learned, I have to admit, really surprised me. I didn't know that everybody had a guide. I didn't know that I had a guide. And so when people would come in for readings, it was like they have all this spiritual support behind them that they don't even know is there. So each guide has a role to play. So who did I want to tell you about? So you have your main personal guide. Now this one kind of sticks to me like glue. This one, it's like we're just like this. Like we're just super, super, super close. It's like that's going to be the one. It's like, did you hear that? Are you listening to this? They just offended me. They're not getting what I'm saying. It's like, I'll ask my higher self or my guide, how should I say this differently? You all have a healing guide. So to help you to heal personally, and you can learn more about working with your healing guide in Psychic Mastery 1. You have a communication guide to help you with the words. And I know that many of you and many people in the world could use a lot of help with a communication guide. You have an Ascended Master guide, angelic realm, Jesus, Mary, Buddha, Shiva, Kuan Yin. And you have a life path guide. So for example, my life's path is to teach intuitive development, helping you to remember that you're a spirit, helping you to remember you're incredibly awesome, helping you to remember how to communicate with your higher self and to communicate with guides. So I have a life path guide that helps me with that on those days when I just want to quit. My staff will tell you, they're like, Nancy, you haven't said you wanted to quit in the last couple of years. So I wanted to share with you, hang on a minute. I wanted to share with you first my daughter's story. And I do, Yvonne will be coming on in a little bit to share her story when she first started working with her guide. But my daughter was, oh gosh, she was about 11 years old. And one of my favorite aunts, very close in age, we're more like sisters than niece and aunt. So my aunt had breast cancer and she had surgery and she was going through chemotherapy. Now my daughter was 11 and we had just hopped into the car because we were going to go over and visit my aunt after surgery to see how she was doing and how she was holding up with the diagnosis of cancer. And she's about ready to start chemotherapy and things like that. I went to go turn over the engine to get it started. But before that, my daughter said, Mom, can I ask you a question? And I said, sure. And she said, why is it that when we go to visit Aunt Nini, that's what she was called. Her name was Benita, but we called her Nini for short. Aunt Nini, how come her spirit guides stay really close to her and they don't leave her side at all? But when we go over there and other people are visiting, all of our guides go off into another room to visit. And I was like, well, first of all, I never taught her about guides. I hadn't even really knew much. I didn't know anything about guides, actually. I'm trying to think back. And so I just stopped and I looked at her and I said, you see spirit guides? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, tell me more about that. So she went into a little bit more. And then I explained to her, well, your Aunt Nini is very sick. And I'm sure that they're staying close to her because she knows and they know that she needs that extra support. So here it was, so my 11-year-old daughter was able to offer an insight that I didn't know before. I was a hospice nurse, but I didn't realize that our guides will stay during times of illness, during times of stress and strain, stay really close to us. But when we come together to visit, they also like to visit with each other. And I will tell you, after she said that, I was trying to imagine the conversations all of our spirit guides would be having. Do you know what Nancy did today? And so they have a good gossip as they're sipping their tea, spilling the tea with each other. So Michelle's asking, since we have guides that also include ascended masters, does it also include angels? Yes, it can. Each person is very different. Sorry, I'm just wanting to open up my page again. So you're asking, Chicky, I love that. Is this the same as a guardian angel? One of your guides can be a guardian angel. Yes, you can call them all angels. So, but I'm going to let me share my story about my very first introduction to my very first guide. I was a hospice nurse. And I was sitting in a room with a patient who had been told they had less than 6 months to live. But they did not know it. All right, so let me go back. It was a couple of weeks before that. I had already had my out-of-body experience. I could already see energy fields, but I was taking classes because I had no idea what was happening to me. And in the class, I was introduced, just like I'm going to do for you today, I was introduced that I had a main guide that works with me. And so I'm going to take you through how to get the information about your first guide, just like I learned. And what I realized was this first guide, when they walked in, glided in, it was a Civil War soldier, and it was a man. And the information that came through was that he and I had been in the Civil War together. The information also came through that we had been together in many, many lifetimes. And the information that came through was he decided, rather than incarnating with me again in human form, he wanted to go through how to learn how to be a spirit guide and support me as a human on earth. And then the other thing he taught me was he was in that learning process. So it was going to be helpful for me to share with him what was going on. And then we would have conversations, and he would listen, and he would offer guidance. And he was going to be able to do things on the other side that I wasn't going to be able to do in my human form. So right away, I realized it was one of those synchronistic relationships where we were entering into this kind of partnership, this agreement. It was not hierarchical. Now, what I mean by that was this guide, and his name was David, and he was not above me. He didn't consider himself above me. He considered himself my equal, but he's not limited by the limitations that we may have in a human body. He was in spirit form. All right. So I wasn't quite sure how I was going to work with him. And he kept telling me, you just ask me to do anything and I'll do it. You just ask me what you need and I'll do my best to step into what your request is. All right. So now I'm sitting in this room with a patient that has been told, the doctor told me they have less than 6 months to live. To be on hospice services at the time, you'd have to have a less than 6 months to live diagnosis. And so his wife was there. They both greeted me. It was my very first visit to see them. They were new patients, new family on hospice services. And so the wife said, would you like a cup of tea? I said, oh, I would love some. And so she goes off to the kitchen to put the hot water on to make tea. And he says to me, as we've talked about some other things, and he said, can I be honest with you? And I said, sure. And he said, I'm pretty sure I'm dying. Nobody's told me that. And everybody seems to be really secretive, but I'm pretty sure I'm dying. And I don't know how to tell my wife. Is that something that you can help me with? Now, that's not unusual at all. As a matter of fact, it was very usual back then where nobody wants to talk about it. So now the wife's been in the kitchen for a while. So I go in to the kitchen to ask her, can I help you carry the cups of tea into the main room? And while we're in the kitchen, she says, can I talk to you about something before we go back into the room where my husband is? And I said, sure. And she said, my husband is dying and he doesn't know it. And so here I have the husband saying, I know I'm dying. My wife doesn't know it. The wife is saying, I know my husband's dying, but he doesn't know it. The doctor told me. I asked the doctor not to tell him because as a hospice nurse, this happens so much. We have this belief system. If you know you're going to die, it's going to make it happen faster because you just give up on life and you're just going to die faster. So that's not true. I'm just going to give you a lot of, from my experience, it's not true. People don't give up. They usually really take that time to enjoy it more. Okay. So now we've got the tea, come into the room. I've got them both sitting there. And I had said to him, why don't you bring it up to your wife? I'll sit there. I'll help mediate. I said to the wife in the kitchen, why don't you bring it up to your husband? I'll help mediate. And they're both just sipping their tea and nobody is saying anything at all. So then I had this clever idea because David now says, would you like some help? And I said, sure, but I'm not quite sure how you can help. And then David said, well, I can talk to the husband's spirit guides and I can talk to the wife's spirit guides and I can get the husband's and the wife's spirit guides talking to each other. And then after they talk to each other, they can be responsible for getting those two to talk. And I was like, can you really do that? And he was like, watch me. And so I just sat there with my tea, and I happened to be clairvoyant, if I didn't mention that before. And I literally watched him glide across the room to where the husband was. I saw these light beings that was the husband's guides come in. I couldn't hear the conversation that was happening there. I saw him glide over to the wife, have a conversation with her spirit guides. And next thing you know, they both just opened up, the husband and the wife, and said, we need to talk. And they both started talking about it. And then after they started talking about it, I could let them know what I knew and how these next few months were going to unfold. Once I had that experience, there was no going back. As a hospice nurse, I always had little tricks of the trade that he could help with, and he helped me as well. And I learned a lot about the angels that come around to help guide, the loved ones to the other side. He taught me a lot about those sorts of things because he was in the spirit world in ways that I couldn't have possibly known. I just didn't have that knowledge level. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a guided meditation. And in this meditation, this is how it's going to work. So now remember, if you can't see, I'm a seer. However, if you can't see and you can't visualize, I want you to remember Yvonne is a feeler knower. So she'll know something's to be true and she will feel it through her body to affirm what she knows. All right. But she calls it seeing without seeing. So I had a student in a classroom once who said they can't see anything, they can't get anything, and I said, but right? And they said, yes. And I've said, so how many spirits are in the room right now? And of course, she can't look around. She goes, one. I'm like, all right. Is it a male or a female? I know it's a male. Okay. So where in the room is this spirit guide standing? Well, I know it's over in that left corner. I could see it in the left corner. I could see that it was a man. I could see how that man was dressed in spirit form. She described it in detail with great accuracy and never saw a thing. She was relying purely on her knowingness. Okay? So you're going to either know it's a circular golden fence, or a circular golden light, or a circular grove of trees, or a circular pyramids, stars, bears, wolves, eagles, whatever you want that circle to be, it's going to be golden. And mine is a fairly large circle. So I have a very large circle. The circle has a gate, and it's a golden gate, and that golden gate is locked. And in the guided meditation, you're going to go through the gate and you're going to stand in the center of that golden sacred circle. that space. Now, you have a gatekeeper. So a gatekeeper is going to be a guide, angel, ascended master that you trust. It can be a loved one. My gatekeeper happens to be my mother's father, my grandfather, Tom Bentley. He loves to visit with everybody. So when anybody comes up to the gate and they want a spirit and they want to communicate with me, he has a chat with them and then he lets me know there's a spirit here that wants to talk to me. And is it okay if I let them into your inner sacred circle? Can I open the gate for them? So that's what a gatekeeper does. But your gatekeeper can be Archangel Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Ariel. Your gatekeeper can be your grandmother. Your gatekeeper can be your mother or your father who passed, you're a sibling. Your gatekeeper can be Jesus or Mary, Merlin. Your gatekeeper can be anybody you wish that you feel safe and trustworthy with. Because I know there's a lot of you that have been taught and trained and socialized to be afraid to talk to anybody in the spirit world. And I also know, because I've heard from a lot of my clients, don't open that door. You might not ever be able to close it, And so that prevents you from ever communicating with your spirit guide. And your spirit guide sits there and just longs for the day that you know that they're there and that you can talk to them. So the reason why I explain that, and someone saying, at Becca, what circle? You're just creating an imaginary circle. It's an imaginary place. You're pretending. Does that make sense? So, like Amanda says, Jesus is my gatekeeper. Perfect. All right. Whoever you're going to trust in this guided meditation. And then you're going to ask to see one of your guides. Now, I'm going to teach you this, but if you can use the same exact lesson to communicate with other guides, learn about other guides, okay? Or even if you want to communicate with a loved one that has crossed over, you can use the same imaginary circle of gold so that they have to be able to be at a gold vibration or higher to come through that gate. You've got lots of barriers there, lots of protection. Okay. Jennifer, a circular Roman aqueduct. You guys are awesome. Do you make up who the gatekeeper is, or will they just be whoever's there? Beth, I did try to make up a gatekeeper, but my grandfather came through and said, I was made for this job. And so I went with him. But yes, you can, like sometimes there'll be somebody that comes in, it's like, I don't know you and I don't feel comfortable with you. Then call in Jesus or Kuan Yin, Mary Magdalene, who, an angelic realm. You can call anybody in. What is being able to see in your mind's eye? What type of clair is this? Your mind's eye, that's clairvoyance. And do spirit guides communicate with you in dreams? Yeah, they have to. They communicate with you in dreams because they can't often communicate with you during the day when you're awake. But I'm going to teach you this technique so you don't have to wait to dream to communicate with them. You can communicate with them at any time. So Beautifulness is asking, is the circle inside or outside the gate? All right. So like I have a fence around my yard and I have a front gate. It's part of the fence. So it's part of the circle. It's just going to open up. It's the same. Okay. So And Marcia, I hope I have a David guy. He was so sweet. I talk about him in past tense because I've been doing this for 30 years. And if I can just add, it was a rough day when he came to tell me that he had learned so much from me, but he wants to go learn some more. And he wanted to go somewhere else. And so I had a heart. It took me a while to let go of that relationship, but he does pop in and lets me know all the great things that he's doing in the spirit realm, and he's just loving it. So let's go ahead and meet your spirit guide and have a conversation. Okay? So go ahead and close your eyes. And turn within and reconnect with your grounding. Do you want to use the same image that you used on day 1 or day 2? Or do you wish to have a whole new imaginary image for grounding? But then go ahead and anchor yourself all the way into the center of the earth to help bring physical, emotional, mental calmness to your body. Yes, you can have more than one gatekeeper. I can feel you all are so excited. So just let yourself be with your excitement, with your eyes closed. Your spirit, your higher self is giddy with excitement. Say hello to your higher self and see if you can sense how excited your higher self is that you're going to get to experience communicating with your main guide today. And let's just take a moment to just ask for a large ball of golden frequency, this kind of liquid light, to flow all the way down through into the room where you are, flow right through the top of your head. Let it just flow through your body and rinse right down your grounding, intending it's going to dissolve any fear that you may have around communicating with the spirit, or maybe you have doubt. Maybe you think this is crazy. Whatever it is, just let that golden light melt it away and let it just all drain right down your grounding. Remind yourself of what today's date is. So remember, if there's any of your energy in the future, you can be anxious. If there's any energy in the past, you can feel low, maybe a little sad or depressed. So just set your intention. Any of your energy from the past or the future, or both, is going to come fully present in this moment on this day, October 24th, 2025, or whatever date you're actually listening to the replay. Remind yourself of how old you are as well. Sometimes energetically, you might remember as a child your guide, and as you're remembering that childhood experience, your energy field goes back into that age. So just remind yourself of your current age. Beautiful. So now imagine that you can feel this large golden circle. It can be made of, mine happens to be golden wood fencing. Yours can be golden stones, golden bricks, golden feathers, golden pyramids, golden trees, whatever you want that outer protective wall around you to be. Let yourself imagine, play, and pretend that it is your safe space. It is your sacred space. You imagine moving to the center of the circle, and then there's no one else in the circle with you. You're just turning around. You want to make sure that that circle, that golden corral or whatever it is completely formed all the way around you. Invite some of that gold cosmic frequency to flow to the inner circle, cleansing, clearing, dissolving anything in the inner circle. There just might be some old dense energy. This is your sacred space that you can revisit anytime you wish. Part of this circle, there is a gate that can open, and it can only be opened by your gatekeeper. So take a moment to notice through a feeling, or notice through hearing, or notice through knowing, or maybe your imagination is allowing you to pretend that you're seeing something. You're going to see the gate, and on the outside of the gate is your gatekeeper, and there may be several spiritual beings there, but your gatekeeper will be standing right by the gate. It's whomever you feel comfortable with, that you can trust. And when you're ready, send a mental mind-to-mind communication, sync up, telepathic, send them that mind communication to let them know when you're ready for one of your spirit guides to come through the gate, and then the gatekeeper will close the gate behind them, and then Just let that guide stand right there on the inside of the gate for you to get a sense about what they look like, what they feel like. Do they have a sound? Can you hear their telepathic words? What you know them to be? And when you feel comfortable, you get to invite them to move in closer until you're just a comfortable distance from each other. And then we're going to take 2 minutes of quiet as you kind of get to know them. And for those of you who sense, oh, I'm not really getting much of anything, just pretend, make it up, imagine it, because I promise you, you are still having an experience. You just may not be able to pick up on the subtleties of it quite yet. So a couple of minutes of quiet as you work with your guide. How long has this guide been with you? What kinds of things can this guide help you with? You just need to ask the question, and they will do their best to answer you telepathically. And remember, their voice may sound like your voice. I'm sensing some emotions coming up, and that's okay. Just let it flow right up out of the top of your head. Just let your guide know that, ask, like, can we talk all the time? Can I come back and talk to you later? And then let me ask you, do you wish for your guide to remain in the inner circle with you? Or would you like them to step outside the gate? So right now, you just let yourself know if you'd like them to remain by your side for the rest of this teaching and talk, or go back outside the gate. And then thank your guide for coming through, and thank yourself for imagining and letting yourself go there. Thank your gatekeeper. And then allow the whole scene to dissolve, to dissipate, to disappear. And you bring your consciousness fully back into the room where you are now. Open your eyes, look around. Stretch your body, pat your legs, get you back in your body, and take a moment to write, a little bit. You can put homework next to it if you wish. Write about your experience, because we'll draw names again tomorrow. So while you are coming back to yourself and your experience, maybe you're making a few little notes. I do have Yvonne's going to join me for a couple of minutes today to share with you her story, because she has a different background than I have, upbringing, and to share her story about communicating with her first guide. So, hi, Yvonne. Can you unmute yourself?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah. So thanks for being willing to come on. I know it's been quite a few years. Can you reach back and remember what it was like when you were introduced to your very first guide?
Well, sure. I mean, it has been a while, but I, you know how I grew up. I grew up with a very strong church background, a very strong fundamental Christian, literal, very controlled, repressed kind of environment. But I always was a little coloring on the outside of the lines. I used to like flip through my Bible and like kind of use it like a tarot deck in a way and make my own interpretations. But that's about as much freedom. I didn't talk to anybody about that. But when the opportunity came, I had to build trust first, because I felt like I had been not told the truth about spirit, about I didn't know what to make of things. Things sort of blew up. And so I see it as putting the pieces back together. And I didn't really even trust myself to build my own spiritual uh, milieu, I guess. I didn't know what to think. Everything I knew blew up when I was, in my early 40s. And so
And so even like your higher self, had you thought about talking to your own spirit before?
No, I talked to Jesus a lot, but I had to clear everybody out of the room when things blew up because I wasn't sure. That when you don't have trust, it's really hard to start something new. But I felt compelled when I reconnected with you to get these tools because I knew I needed something, but it was totally foreign to me. And so I proceeded with caution. I left my body a lot while I was learning, and it's taken me, I mean, it's something no one else can do for you when you have to rebuild your spirituality from the ground up. If all your pillars or most of your pillars are in rubble. So I went through the rubble and picked out, Jesus was safe for me. So um, Jesus was my first
So you
guide.
let yourself, stay there, and Jesus is still
Well, I came
by your
back to it, yes, and so I wasn't sure what to do at first. I sort of froze because it was such a big blow up, and church was such a huge part of my life, and it was very well defined for me, and there was a lot of very strict doctrine. So, but it's been the best work I've ever done, the best gift I've given to myself, even though it was in the beginning very fearful for me because the religion I grew up in was very fear based and only one way you could relate to spirit. But it's like now that I've created this meditation practice and um, interface with my guides, and Jesus has been the one that started, and then I built from there.
Hmm.
And I think first I even might have started with my dog Sparky because I was, I was blown. It really shook my world to have my very rigid, very formed um, way of relating to spirit blow up. So the rebuilding was slow and steady. And I mean, so over the last 25 years, I don't think twice about it. I don't get bunked in the head. I've been able to use the tools to clear the religious programming so that I could more clearly relate to spirit, so that I could grow in trust, so I could grow in trusting myself, so I could even play. Um,
Mhm.
I had terminal seriousness. I still suffer from it today. Um, but I learned to play and I let my imagination start to bloom. And it's been a fascinating thing for me. And there is no looking back for me. Um, it's, but you can guide people to the gates, to open the gates, but you have to go there and play. You
Yeah.
have to go there and just be and clear energy or get more comfortable. And even if you are, it's so hard for you or you're frightened, then you have tools to clear the fear. You just have to make your way. The great thing about this community is, or like-minded people, is that you get encouragement, you hear things that you hadn't thought of, ways of relating that you hadn't been exposed to. Um, but the company on the journey of life and the ability to transform energy, to ground and find my center, um, there isn't anything that matches that. It's just changed the way that I walk through my life. And there's some certainty about, I can look at the energy of things or feel into the energy. Um, I can talk to my guides or Jesus um, about anything, and get answers and be in that centered, quiet space where you're grounded and talking to your higher self and your guides. It's like you have a little team there that helps you navigate. And there isn't anything like that, and nobody can navigate your life for you.
No,
You
no.
must do it. You
Yeah.
must find ways to move forward. Um, it just, yeah, I can't say enough about it. I
Well,
am,
I wanted to add that Yvonne, she's really that one-on-one person. So I'm the one that I talk to the bigger groups, but she does mentoring one-on-one. And you've mentored people for 25 years, and
Mhm.
you tend to mentor a lot of people that have that
Mhm.
those reservations, not wanting to step out of line or do something that maybe isn't right. And so if you were to just give one piece of advice before you go off, or just maybe one consistent thing that you've learned, and my sense is what you just said is take it at your own pace.
Well, take it at your own pace, and you can find your own answers, and you can grow your certainty and grow your trust. It's a process, and every step of the way teaches you. But in that quiet space where you're making those connections and having those conversations, it's a magical place, and things get more clear.
Yeah.
Um, and you can find your way. No one can find your way for you better than
Mm.
you.
No.
And it's great to have a team to help you
Yeah.
navigate this life. And
Yeah.
yeah, so,
Anything else you want to say about our community before you go off?
oh no, it's awesome. Working one on one with people has been a lifesaver for me. It was hard at first, thinking it was as important work as it was cracking chests back in the ICU, but it has been so life giving for me to watch people change over the course of a year and really come back to themselves and develop that trust and that confidence more and more and more. It just is a step by step thing. We must have patience with ourselves and the process, and know that in the end it is going to be okay.
Yeah. And we do truly believe that we are stronger together than we are apart.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. No
Yeah.
question
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Community is awesome
Yeah.
support.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I know that, you have a lot more stories to share, and people get a chance to engage with you in our programs. So thanks I know I grabbed hold of you at the last minute because I
You
love your
kidnapped
story,
me.
because your background, I know, is different than mine. And you've taught me a lot how to understand that as well. So,
All
yeah.
right. Well, yes, if your spirit got you here, it's not a mistake. And if they're wiggling you a little bit, what have you got to lose? That's what I figured. What have
Yeah.
I got to lose? What I used to do broke. And this has been life-giving for me. So,
Awesome. Awesome.
all
All
right.
right. Thanks, Yvonne.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So I can see all of your questions and I can see your comments. But I do want to make sure that we have time. I would love to share with you more about the program. I would love your permission to share about the program. I had a lot of you actually asking questions yesterday. So I'm hoping that I can address a lot of those questions now. So, yeah, 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 we are pretty down to earth because we both believe that, you can have your head in the stars, but if you're no earthly good, right? It's like, I want these tools to be practical in every way. So we've covered a lot over these past few days. And now, would it be okay with you all if I just take a minute? I want to break down the Psychic Mastery 1 program, and how you can get even more mentoring with us. Would that be all right with you all? So the benefits of deepening your intuition, yeah, Yvonne's getting lots of big thumbs up, is in times like this, the world, it is loud, it's unpredictable, it's unstable. Intuition feels like, oh, it might be a little nice thing to have. but actually it's your lifeline. It's the one thing that never lies, never wavers, never leaves you hanging. And when someone said that they realize their higher self tells truth, I have a saying that your energy field never lies. Your higher self does not lie. Your spirit guides don't lie. When you're in those higher frequencies, it's not possible to lie. And so in those higher frequencies, you can rely on that truth. And so it's your direct connection to the divine that will always lead you towards what's right, what's real, what's next. So here's the benefits of the program. Let me make sure that you're, yeah, Terry, I'm glad that you're here as well. And Renee and Kathy. So more security, less uncertainty. When you are tapped into your intuition, you stop depending on chaos for your direction. As you know, when we have chaos and drama, we want to move away from it. And so or if you're a fixer, you're going to move towards it. You stop chasing external answers, waiting for the world to calm down before you can feel safe. How many of us have been waiting? How many of us have arrived at that calm place? So when you know to take action, your intuition helps you to know when to take action and when to pause. Your intuition lets you feel what's true, even when logic can't explain it. You've heard me tell that story yesterday about the house. It's real. It's the type of security, that comes from the inside out, not the outside in. When you're connected to your inner guidance, you stop asking, what should I do next? What should I do? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And you start saying, I know exactly what to do. So with abundance, intuition guides you towards alignment, an alignment that is magnetic in its purest state. When you begin to sense what opportunities are right for you and which ones drain your energy, you stop forcing things that aren't meant for you, and you start saying yes to what prospers for you. So you're not wasting all this time of trying to figure it out. You can go direct to the source, direct to the abundance. Money flows easier for you when your energy is not tangled up in so much doubt and fear. You attract the right relationships to you, the right clients. You make aligned decisions, and you feel supported by life itself. Intuition helps you to work smarter, not harder, helps you to recognize which doors are yours to walk through and which doors are yours to walk past. So you're just not wasting a lot of time trying to figure it out with your head. You also have more purpose and more meaning in your life. Thank you. You rock. The world is noisy with options and expectations. I mean, a lot of them. And when you're in tune with your inner voice, you start living from why you're here, not what the world tells you to be. You remember your calling, you remember your soul's blueprint and the reason why you're showing up on earth right now. And your purpose doesn't come from a job title. It comes from being in direct relationship with your soul. And I'm going to promise you, when you're in direct relationship with your soul, everybody at the office notices it. All the nurses and doctors, when I was at the hospital, noticed it. I remember sitting in an outdoor beer garden, and this woman walked, she goes, I have passed by you so many times, and I just have to stop because I can feel your energy. Like, what do you do for a living? And I said, well, I meditate a lot. And out of that whole crowd, she could feel it. It is a standout moment for you. Your intuition is the GPS of your soul to help you stay true to your path, even when your life takes unexpected turns. And how many of you would love less stress and a lot more calm? When you learn to trust yourself, your stress loses its grip on you. You don't waste energy second guessing, replaying scenarios. You drop into that present moment. We talked about that, right? Just coming out of the past, coming out of the future, being in the present, in the quiet, and that grounded confidence that says, whatever happens, I can handle it. That's the peace that comes from living a spirit-led life. Your nervous system relaxes, your energy steadies, your mind clears. Stress thrives on uncertainty. Intuition dissolves it because you're no longer guessing, you are guided. You have more confidence, more power. Confidence doesn't come from having all the answers. It just comes from trusting that when you need that answer, you've got it right there instantly. You don't have to wait around to have a sign come through maybe in a couple of months. When I named it Intuition with Precision, that's what I'm talking about. You get to become very precise with your intuition. You stop giving your energy to other people's opinions, and you stop wasting time by chasing the opinion and advice that they told you to do that didn't work out. You can walk into any room knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you're called to do. And here's the thing, confidence isn't loud. It's quiet, unshakable. I'm aligned, I'm guided, I've got this. I remember I would use a lot of words to set boundaries. That's a boundary, you're crossing a boundary, it's a boundary, it's a boundary. But when I became centered and confident in myself, I never even had to mention it again. People stopped crossing it because I was strong within myself. What makes this unlike anything else that's out there? Chances are you've invested a lot of time, energy, and money into spiritual growth and personal development. And maybe you've read a few books, taken a few workshops, done meditations, and you find that something is still missing. Maybe you've walked away with a few beautiful insights that you could take and implement in your life, small victories, short-lived breakthroughs, the same old doubts and fears and frustrations. Guess what? Have you noticed? They come to the surface again. Does that sound familiar? You're not alone. And the reason why most people get stuck is because you've got these patterns that just repeat themselves over and over and over again. And you're wondering what you're doing wrong. You can't figure it out. And it's because you're missing that one connection, that direct, trustworthy relationship with your own spirit. I have several students that have given testimonials. We've been posting them on the Facebook page, and when we can figure out how to post it on YouTube, we will. But when they're saying for 50 years, I've taken a lot of courses and they worked and they helped, but those hard to reach core issues just never went away. And once working through the modules in this course, they cannot believe it. They're finally even turning those hard to reach spots around. So this is where Psychic Mastery 1 is totally different. In this program, you don't just learn to be intuitive, you activate your intuition. You'll receive clear step-by-step guidance, how to open to your own intuitive channels, interpret what you need, what you're receiving, and build confidence in your inner knowing, because this is not a theory. I've been doing this for 30 years, and thousands upon thousands upon thousands of students, I've watched them over and over again just grow and blossom into who they've always been, but they were hiding it. You're going to receive clear step-by-step guidance through your intuitive channels. It's practical, it's grounded, it is transformational. You're going to have structure. I have people write and they're like, this program is so organized. And the way that you have that it unfolds in step-by-step ways, I've just never seen anything like it. Well, why is it so beautiful and the way that it's laid out? Because we've worked with students, we know what they want. We know what maybe didn't work and what did work. And we just reshaped and recreated and reformed and re-added and until we got just the right recipe so that that cake that we bake, that intuitive cake that you bake every single time, is you can rely and depend on it to taste really good. We also have an incredible community of like-minded souls, people walking the same path. And I will tell you, we have a room full of students that have been that are super excited to welcome you into the group, and direct mentorship so you can finally stop guessing, start trusting your connection with your own spirit. You won't just feel more intuitive, you're going to live it. And I read one person ask the question, it's like, I get it, but why a year? Like, why do we need a year to learn how to be intuitive? Well, for some of you who find being intuitive easy, or maybe you've been following it for a long time, had a lot of classes, but this is a lifestyle. You are going to live and breathe this intuitive knowledge so much that you don't even have to think about it. It's just right there and available for you. You're going to make decisions faster, feel calmer in chaos, start noticing that life aligns around you. And now, budget. You're wondering, I completely understand when you have this budget. You're not the only one feeling cautious about investing during this time right now. It is uncertain. The world is uncertain. But here's what I've seen again and again and again, that when you learn to trust your intuition, you stop wasting money on things that you don't need, things that aren't right for you. You stop chasing what the world tells you you should invest in. You start investing in what actually is going to move you forward. So many students tell me, and this is the honest to God truth, they will say, what I got in module 1, and some of them even say in week 1, is the price of the entire 1-year program all by itself. So you start attracting, again, aligned clients like Judy, who told me she was hesitant to sign up because she had just left her job, but within 2 months of working with her intuition, she was guided to start her own healing business. It took off faster than she imagined. And that one intuitive nudge changed everything. But how about for those of you that say that you don't have time? That's totally valid. Life is really busy right now. But here's the truth. When you're disconnected from your intuition, everything takes longer. You second guess, you overthink, you waste energy spinning in uncertainty. And here's the thing about the Psychic Mastery program. It's 12 modules. So it's 12 months of learning. The whole program is open to you. And I call it a hybrid program, meaning that the minute you get your username and password, you're in the program and you can start learning today. You've got video lessons. You have a lot of audio guided meditations where I'm guiding you through the lessons so that you can have your own experiences. You hear from other students. We have weekly, what we call Mentoring Monday, where we're learning all kinds of intuitive experiences and building confidence. And you get to observe some of the other intuitive readers practicing their skills. We have our skill building conference calls. So there's always something going on weekly while you're learning. And if you choose, you get to also be in small groups. And we started adding small group supports a couple of years ago. And most people would say they've moved it at the top of the list as one of their most favorite parts of the program. They're creating lifelong friendships. So I designed Psychic Mastery 1 for real life. Some of you are night owls. You like to stay up till 2 a.m. Guess what? You don't have to wait for class at 10 o'clock in the morning. you can go on your private membership page at 2 o'clock in the morning and do your lessons then. Or maybe you're an early bird, like I was up at 4 this morning. You can tune in and do it then and fit it into your busy life and busy schedule. So does it really work? I get it. You've probably taken a lot of courses. So let me be clear. This is not just a feel-good, distracting program that fades away when life gets too hard. This is proven. I have witnessed this not only in my own life, but in countless lives of all my students. The same one I teach my advanced students, healers, professionals who now use their intuition to guide every part of their lives. And you're going to be really surprised at how quickly your connection to your own intuition strengthens. Many students start receiving messages from their spirit right away, which you did in this workshop. So how do the live group calls work? Question is in Australia. Yeah, it's 3:30 in the morning for you. So I do the group calls. I do it at 8 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock in the afternoon for a lot of my Australian students, of which I have a lot of, which amazes me. They usually will join at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. However, towards the end, sometimes we'll have both groups. You can join both groups, and yeah, students will get up in the middle of the night because they love the calls so much. And it uplifts and it helps clear their field, and they get to practice a lot. That they'll get up in the middle of the night too. Time is specific time, yes. So now in these times, the tendencies to want to hibernate, it is the fall after all, here in the upper part of the world, people who thrive in the next are the ones who have the intuitive tools to move through setbacks. These are the ones who get results, while the people who are hibernating will still find themselves in a similar position a year from now, feeling burdened by the world. Now, if you enter and enroll, so the tuition is 12 months, $147 a month, or you have the option to do one full payment of $1,477. And it is a great idea. And if I were you, I would jump in, because I am 99.9% certain that you will have zero regrets on any level. And when you enroll by the end of today, I don't do private readings anymore, but I'm offering a bonus mini reading time with me, and Kathy in our office will get you set up and organized for that by the end of the day, Friday. And here's my promise and my guarantee to you. If you join and you don't think it's the best program you've ever been a part of, please reach out and we will make it right for you. We always do. And because there's so much uncertainty in the world, I just want to speak this out loud. So let's say that you're in the program, you're enjoying going through the modules, you're working through it, and something in life changes. So you've committed to the year. And let's say you're into it, a couple of months, 6 months, even 8 months. You just write us an email or pick up the phone and call us, and we will immediately stop your payment and let you step out of the program. If you end up paying in full, what we will do, let's say that you take 8 months in the program, 4 months in the program, we will prorate it and make sure that you get a refund, because we really want you to feel comfortable in a world that we want you to feel certain in a world that feels uncertain right now. I do believe things are going to smooth out, but if they don't, I just want to let you know we're there for you. We've got your back. You can feel comfortable in this. So let's just take a moment to vision. Take a moment to check in with your higher self, or check in with your guide. And just imagine moving forward with ease, having all the security that you need and you want. And the question is, do you want to continue with the way things are, stuck, playing small, being a wallflower, holding back, even though knowing there's so much more for you to do and to have? Or do you wish to live that best, more purposeful, happy, secure life? So it's simple. Go to intuitivemind.org. The Psychic Mastery registration is right there on the front. Doors will be closing in a few days. Tonight's the added bonus. And we're super excited because of the nature of the program. Spaces are limited. So we look forward to you. And don't hesitate to write us emails if you have questions at all. Yeah, thanks for that. We've got many of our students popping on to say how much they love the program. And I will say that when I had the opportunity to take these classes 25 years ago, I didn't have the money and I didn't have a relationship that was going to support me making an investment like that. But I knew deep in my soul that I had to do it. I had to find a way, and I did. And you see where I am now. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for staying and hanging in there. And I just want to say one more thing. I've had so much fun with you all over the next 4 days on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I'm going to be spending about a half hour each day. I'm going to come on live again. I'm going to be talking about the 4 clairs. I'm going to be talking about intuition. So when you're a feeler, I'm going to be talking about feelers. I'm going to be talking about people that are more auditory. They talk about seers and what that's like, and talk about knowing. And again, if you can't make those live teachings over the next 4 days, you can still watch the replay. Those will be available for about a week. All right. Take care of everyone. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully.